November 2015. Then about March 2016, the same group of ISIS soldiers also took part in the what was it? It was the Brussels airport bombing. So there is this issue going on, and it's been made worse, as far as I can tell, by the global financial elite. And so, this is why Trump is popular, because when it came, for instance, to with a lot of his talks, he, I believe in one of them, he made the point that Obama was the founder of ISIS. He also said that Hillary Clinton was the co-founder. And and I'm sure if you look at some of the personal fortunes that Clinton and Obama have amassed, then you'll see some of this money probably is dirty Saudi Arabian money.
What can we do to change it? In your opinion, what needs to change?
I'd say there is this problem of globalism, and it's basically it's the financial elite. And what they're doing is, it's a whole bunch of processes. With the Saudis, they wanted, I believe they wanted control over, or they wanted to build a pipeline through Syria so they could export their oil to Europe. But there was some issue with Russia also wanting in on the deal. They were wanting to export their oil into Europe. That's how
it all works like that.
Oil. There was a massive contention with this, and this is one of the reasons why Putin has become public enemy number one, and why somehow there were all of these Russian hackers who were responsible for the election. It's interesting with the whole Russian hacker thing, how they're responsible for everyone's problems nowadays. If anyone's got a problem with their computers, then it's definitely Russian hackers who are up to it. They're everywhere, and they're causing all of your problems. If your internet goes down, it's probably Russian hackers. You just blame everything on them.
Can I pick you up on something? You said Obama and Clinton are co-founders of ISIS or something.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's a bit wrong?
Trump said that.
Yeah.
I'd agree with him. I believe there's massive links between. Well, there's the Saudi princes, the Saudi oil people, and they're linked together with all of these high-ranked politicians in the US, a lot in the UK, a lot of people who are heavily invested in old money, some invested in new money, some oil people, government people, military people, and this is the global elites. This is the people who go to the Bilderberg conferences. They're the people who try and create the narrative and tell us exactly the way we should be feeling about these issues. And Trump has opposed that.
Trump is not part of the elite.
In terms of all, I'd say the presidential campaigners, possible candidates in the last, for a long time really, since JFK, he has called truth to power more so than anyone else.
You don't think he's part of the establishment, the elite, and business elite?
I think he is, but he's been taking on the rest of them.
Do you think he's a good salesman? Do you think he's a good salesman?
It'll be interesting to see if he just joins them afterwards. Obviously, that won't be such a good thing.
I think a better question is does he agree with the elite? He is part of it, but does he agree with it?
Of course he does.
He's just playing everyone. He has been taking.
Why do you say he's playing everyone?
He's playing everyone.
Why? How?
To consolidate power amongst the business elite, the corporations. Russia's done a blinder. They have, because they've just
they're part of the corporate.
Well, it's strongman politics. The world's changing.
Putin's part of the corporate elite.
Well, he did deals with the big Russian oligarchs in the early 90s.
Not in America.
No, but then they're all interconnected. So the head of
the Russian oligarchs.
well, for example, the head of Exxon is now, what's it, Secretary of Energy or Secretary of State?
Exxon is not.
No, but they do deals with Russia all the time. Yeah, I know, but the thing is that
they might make you evil, but they're not the same.
yeah, okay then. But the thing is, yes, they are business-wise.
In answer, I don't think he's going to solve all the world's problems, but he is a useful cog at the moment in terms of taking on globalism.
They're useful idiot.
And he seems to have a desire to take on globalism and to call a lot of these bastards out for what they've been doing.
Like, who is he called out?
Well, yeah, mainly his rivals, who were at the head of this massive globalist. I mean, you could call it a conspiracy. I call it an institution.
How are you going to get first?
But the thing is that at the same time, he's.
So was Bernie Sanders, interestingly. Bernie as well was. He was calling out Hillary on her connections to Wall Street and also to other globalists like Soros and so on. But he was taken out of the picture. The Democrats had him thrown out in the primaries. Nothing to do with the way they're meant to run. Their how they actually choose their candidate, which is that's meant to be chosen by their voters. But that didn't happen this time. It was the whole thing was stacked against Bernie, and it's interesting because if he had taken on Trump in the election, who would have won that one? I think it would have been a bit of a different. I think it would have been a bit of a different competition. Bernie versus Donald.
So what do you like
rather
about
than,
Trump?
Hey? I quite like the calling out. Just Hillary Clinton and Obama when she was Secretary of State. I think the main revelation has to be that they were in league with the Saudis, who created ISIS, who used them to take down Syria, and it didn't work. That was.
But the thing is that we're drugged in oil, and so that's why we're so dependent on the Saudis. We're drugged on oil.
The sooner we get off that addiction.
So right then, so Obama, one thing he wanted to promote green energy, didn't he?
Did he?
Now Trump is.
Did he do most?
Did he?
Now Trump.
Now, what I don't like about the leftist strategy with. I am actually also in favour of new forms of energy that aren't oil. What I don't like about what the left do when it comes to this issue is they go, right, green energy, okay, out with oil, carbon tax, way. And they have a massive
Africa.
tax
Half
party.
of it is bloody taxes. I've got no other way of going to visit my family in South Africa. Even if I went by ship, that would be dirtier than flying in a plane because ships use diesel. So the logic is illogic because I'm going to go there anyway.
The whole diesel bubble's burst a little bit, isn't it? It's just a lower grade form of oil.
But the same people who advocate for carbon taxes are the same people who moan and groan about poverty. You couldn't make it up.
Well, I mean, it is this whole tax thing, and that they love that because that means more money in their pockets.
How do you get populations of to change the behaviour?
Right.
How would you do it? How do you promote the less use of
I
carbon fuels?
Interestingly, on this issue, there was a book written by this guy Peter Barnes, Capitalism 3.0, and he suggests you don't have any kind of tax credit or carbon tax system. Instead, what you do is you what they've been doing wrong so far is they've valued the price of nature as being zero, and so they say, right, okay, so if you the reality is if you cut down a bunch of trees, you have made a detrimental impact on the natural world, and so what you should do is ensure that the land that you're working on, that you own, isn't spoiled and continues in a regenerative fashion. I believe John Locke also made the same point in his treatise on government back in the 1600s as well, that the importance is that you do not let the land spoil, that you you work
Okay,
it
so how
and
do you
you
practically
make
do that?
sure that the whole thing, you know, the enterprise is sustainable. I think that's where we go wrong. But I mean, the left's coming in and saying, "Oh, what we need to do is tax." And it's like, right, so you want them to screw up the planet and then pay you some money because they've screwed it up, and then you keep most of that money, and then you send a little bit towards regeneration program. So right, you obviously care about this issue, don't you?
I think what you
what's
said
the
about
alternative? So
you're
what's-
saying
what's an
you're
actual
you're
alternative?
saying that we're drunk on oil.
Yeah,
Yeah, literally.
we're drunk on consumerism.
We're alcoholics. We're addicts. Yeah. Now, I mean, if we take that scenario to an addict, I mean, how would you get an addict off? You have to wean him off. There has to be a transitional period.
Abstain from it.
There has to be a transitional period. No, the abstinence of it will work for
100
some.
years ago, we survived.
For some.
Interestingly,
For some.
in terms of long-term future projects, yeah, I mean, sure, there's
100 odd years ago, the world's population at
Was
the
less.
turn of the century,
Yeah.
1900, was 1.1 billion people.
Now it's 5
currently
billion.
7.5 billion and climbing.
Right.
Nobody mentions that these climate change conferences are about keeping the population
No,
down.
population.
They just say, oh, we can all have as many kids as we like. I, by the way, don't have any. So when I go, that's one less person clogging up the planet. You know, yet the thing is, it's all very well telling everybody to cut down on carbon consumption, recycle all your plastic, do this, do that.
Yeah.
But if you don't control the world's population, by the time it gets to 10 billion,
yeah.
we've lost it. We've lost it.
There is
That's
that
the
issue
tipping
as well.
point.
It's not
10
PC
billion,
to talk
we're
about that.
stuffed.
That's the bottom
What-
line.
what-
It's not
what,
PC to
gen-
talk about
genocide
population.
We
and
should
which-
be,
yeah.
because it's nothing to do with
Genocide is
politics,
obviously
it's
not
everything to do with ecology. It's about saving the planet for future generations.
We consume as we grow.
We're going to run out of things on this planet for everybody if we have too many people.
Like the other one, I think the important one that they don't put money into is the development of nuclear fusion as well. This is,
That
I
gives
mean,
us
it's
unlimited energy
it's
with
an
no waste
astonishing,
products, but they
it's
won't
an
do it.
astonishing energy system. It's nature's power supply.
Correct.
But they're not actually put in.
Well, they keep-
Hardly
It's like a
any money
bogeyman.
into
It's a
it.
bogeyman
Like
No,
to
they
us.
keep coming up with theories that you can only have it in a vacuum and we haven't got a perfect vacuum on Earth and all this crap.
I mean,
it's
I've
the
heard
oil
from,
companies obviously don't
I've heard
want
from
fusion,
Ryan
do they?
Cox and
Yeah.
Stephen Hawkins as well. They both say that it's achievable,
Yes.
that it's just an engineering problem now. And so all it needs is just a shit ton of money to be put into it.
And the best
And,
brains to sit down there.
yeah,
and work the
because
bloody
you
problem
are
through.
creating the sun on the earth.
What-
So it does cost money to do that.
Well, the same kind of money what they push into NASA projects to like explore
Well,
meteorites.
they don't put that much money into NASA
What,
anymore.
trillions?
Like,
NASA's budget's been cut enormously since Apollo.
Yeah.
Since the Apollo program, and that was
What
all
has it
about the
achieved?
space race.
What was it achieved?
It achieved faster computing times, it achieved a whole range of materials from Teflon to God
Exploring
knows what.
space.
And it's part of our genetic
Exploring
makeup.
space.
If you put a child on the ground, a baby, it will start moving around and toddling around. That's part of our genetic
That's
makeup.
fine. Science. I'm not knocking science. I'm saying exploring space.
What's wrong with that?
Well, we're here. We have bigger problems here. No, we ain't got problems in
might-
Well,
space.
using that logic,
International Space
using
Station.
that logic, you should
But
never
what's that
travel
doing?
anywhere
Talk
then, because there's
about
always a
exploring
problem.
space.
What's
thing
it
is-
doing?
thing is
It's a
if-
lot
is
of
if
money.
we,
You're going down
You
the
can
drain.
carry out experiments in space that you cannot
We are
carry
not
out
li-
on Earth.
We're
Then
not
we
living
will
in
start
space.
exploring
We have
space
no
then.
necessity.
We have a
necessity for space.
duty to explore our environment. It's part of our genetic makeup.
I see the majority of the people living on this environment, not in space.
Using your logic, you should never go on holiday anywhere.
No,
Never go
that's
anywhere
on this
different.
ground. That's terra firma.
No. Well,
That's terra firma.
why explore anything?
We're living on terra
Why
firma.
explore
We're not
anything?
living in
Well,
space.
we have complete control.
If people had not made,
What's up in space?
we don't know. That's why we're going back there.
There's no reason to go there.
Long term,
We don't know.
you know, green.
That's sorry to say it, sir, but that's flat Earth logic. That's like saying I mustn't sail to the edge because I'll fall off the edge. We need to explore. Anyway, let's get back.
Let's go back. We disagree.
I think Hillary would have been worse because of the whole aggression against Russia thing.
When the sirens start going, it's too late.
Anyway.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I think Trump's all right on business, certainly.
Are you an American?
No, I'm British.
So why are you in Trump's favor? So I don't
I guess what it is I don't like the social justice warriors. I just don't like these people who they come along and they say and you say something like, oh well, I don't want uncontrolled immigration, and they go, oh well, you must be a racist. And I go, no, I'm not. And then they go, okay, so and I say, well, a lot of these radical feminist policies they're bringing in, they're a bit of a problem. And they go, oh, you must be a misogynist. and it's like, well,
yes.
Have you got anything
if you
but
agree,
labels?
if you disagree with any of these people, you're a racist, a homophobe, an Islamophobe, this, that, the list goes on and on and on. And in the end, it just demeans those words. Because when you have got someone who's an out-and-out racist, people just laugh it off anyway and go, oh, well,
Sure.
everyone's racist.
Yeah, that's it is just labels that they're using now. They're not actually
They're not
using
prepared to have
any
a proper
arguments.
debate about the problems in America that enabled that man to get to the White House.
Yeah.
Instead of sorting those problems out, it's like the EU. The EU won't sort its structures out and its unelected councils, chambers, parliaments, this, that and the other. Instead they say to Britain, you want to leave our gang, you're horrible people, we don't want to talk to you, you're terrible, you're all racist. No, we want to do deals with the whole world, not just Europe. Europe makes up what percentage of the world? 8, 10%? I don't know, not a lot. We're looking beyond Europe. But all they can see is, oh no, you must be in Europe or you're a nasty bunch of people. Are the Swiss nasty people? They're not in Europe. Norway's not in Europe completely, it's only in the EEA. Yeah? Are they nasty people?
Yes.
Are they going to go to war? No.
No.
In fact, Norway
They're
during
not
the
that
Second World
nasty.
War, during the Second
Just
World
not
War,
smart
Norway
enough to make
didn't have an
guns, the
army.
Norwegians.
So
They're nasty people.
the
You ever
logic
lived in
that if-
Norway? Oh, they're awful.
I can't afford to go
The
drinking
bloody
there, I know
Swiss
that.
are awful as well, I tell you. And everything's bloody expensive over there.
Anyway.
Oh, that's-
Everyone that's out of the EU is a nasty person.
That's
Nasty
100%.
people.
What sort of logic's that?
With the, hang on a second, with the potential exception of Canadians. They're very nice.
But it's like
I
saying,
like Canadians.
the other logic that's used about the EU,
They're basically in the EU anyway.
if we don't
Canadians.
stay,
Canada, oh yeah,
Yeah.
they're bloody socialists, of course they're in the EU.
if we don't stay in the EU, we're going to have
They've got
wars.
Trudeau as their president.
Exactly.
Trump reckons he's going to stop the war. You think he's going to stop the war?
Which war?
He says he's going to stop all wars.
All war. I'm not sure he made that promise.
He did.
He did.
He's gonna
He
stop-
wants
he
to-
said he's
They
going
make-
to.
they
He
make-
wants to
they
draw
make-
America
they
back
make money off
from
wars. There's no way they're going to stop it. Yeah, they make money off
He
wars.
said he's going to eradicate ISIS, basically, global terrorism. I believe that's going to happen.
Come on now.
Like, I mean, the
Well, he's
problem
gonna
with
try
the
and do
Obama
it.
administration was that they were funding ISIS. So,
Like
yeah, if
Benghazi.
you just stop funding ISIS,
Are
then
you going to
that's a
help
good
on the
way
wall?
of stopping
Are you
them.
going to help on the wall?
Help what?
On the wall?
building.
Oh,
Are you going to help?
well, that's not my field, my area.
not
of
American, so
expertise.
he can't help.
I could go
That's
over.
why you
I
are
could go
here.
over as a volunteer,
Yeah, so-
take a few bricks with me, and see if he needs a hand with
That's
his
why
great
all
wall
the
project.
business people here in
Actually,
England.
That could be his employment program.
Speaker, if you're not good with walls, some of it is going to be a fence.
Some of it's going to be
Some
a
of it is going to
multiple
be a
fence.
fence.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not as manual, that labour, you can still help out.
Fences are still pretty tricky.
I completely agree, especially if you're Mexican. I mean, come on.
But the Mexicans could sell in the bricks and the metal.
Precisely.
that?
They could
It'd be
even
a
have the
global
labour.
effort
Why
to
not
build this
use
wall.
some Mexican labour to
Then they
build the
could
wall?
paint the wall.
Well,
you
right
see.
now,
so that's
the
an employment
Mexicans
program.
That's true.
are writing off
job
oil
creation.
right now.
They're doing what?
There's a collapse because of the oil, the petrol prices have gone up in Mexico. They're like looting and robbing. They can't get to work because of the cost of petrol.
Right.
So they may even come to America anyway.
It's interesting. It's not a problem that we know a lot about, I'd say. I mean, I don't, certainly as a European. But I guess for American people who live in those southern states by the border, it's become a lot more of an issue, certainly recently. Probably with overpopulation issues in Mexico, and yeah, with a lot of drug and crime problems down there, and yeah, you are getting these criminals who are going over, for instance, selling drugs in the USA, and also who are general lowlifes who are going over there, who are willing to.
The CIA is the biggest fucking drug dealer. Fucking Jack Blum and J. Edgar Hoover in the 1960s, 1970s allowed drugs to come into America to suppress the so-called black uprising. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. There's a YouTube commenter, Stefan Molyneux, and he talks a bit about this. And he said that with the black community in the USA, one of the worst things that's happened to them has been the rise of socialism and the promotion of single mum households, because that's just destroyed the family within that community in the USA. You've had the father taken out of the family, and so you get the mum on benefits bringing up the kids, and the kids in that situation, they don't have any positive male role models. You just have the
no, because we're all misogynists according to these people.
You have the promotion of gangs.
What's your platform?
You have the kids, joining these gangs and getting into drugs and into being a general gangster. You have the girls; they're getting into prostitution and all of that stuff. And what we see is it's just a really bad model for a family, the single mum model that has been promoted over here in the UK, where you get the Jeremy Kyle generation. But it's the same thing in the US, where you get the projects as well. And,
have you ever seen the Maury show?
Yes.
It's a fantastic show.
They're all pretty bad, aren't they?
What about the whole idea that Trump's meant to be racist? What do you say about that?
Well, he's not, is he? I mean, like, what? I'm not sure what he said that's actually right. I mean, he's criticised Islam, which, there are problems with Islam.
And against the blacks, I mean, a lot of blacks are like saying, there's quite a few of them who are saying, a lot of them didn't even want to perform at his concert because they said he's racist or you're a sellout if you perform at his inauguration and stuff like that. No, I mean, where does that all come from?
Well, there's a promotion of Black Lives Matter in the USA. That's by George Soros, yeah. And apparently they've been sending violent instigators to Trump demos in order to kick off and take on the local Trump supporters there. So it seems that they're trying to promote a race war anyway, this Black Lives Matter organisation, and it just seems utterly ridiculous, really, what they're trying to do.
I mean, it's quite strange they would say he's a racist against black, because even Farrakhan supports him, and he's quite a racist against whites, to be quite honest. But to be quite honest, I mean, the most honest thing that Trump said as well was, what have black people got to lose in America? Because the Democrats ain't done shit for them for over God knows how. That was a bitter pill to swallow for a lot of them, which I think some of them never took in the right way when it was the right medicine. And a lot of people kind of sided with him because of that. But there's a lot of people who are still against him for some strange reason.
I think this Black Lives Matter organisation, it seems they're on a really negative curve, and a lot of the things they're promoting, it's like violence against the police. Well, how's that going to work out for you? I think I'm just going to go up to a police officer and act violently towards him. I'm sure that'll work out really well for me.
The Black Lives Matter is not a Black Lives Matter. It's like some Black Lives Matter, as long as it's not in Chicago with gangs shooting each other.
Right.
So anywhere where there's black on black violence, they're ignoring it. Everything else they're dealing with. They're not dealing with the thugs and the rivalry what's going on. They're not dealing with none
of that. There's all of that, but there is this promotion of saying that the police are definitely going to kill you for no reason, and so you've got to be violent towards them. there's like these chants like pigs in blankets, fry them like bacon.
Yeah, there are some cases which are irrefutable. So, which bad. It is straight up bad policing.
Right.
Yeah, and we just got to look at it for what it is. But it's been highlighted. That's the problem.
Right.
It's been focused on. That's
I mean,
the problem.
I think that can happen, but I think a lot of the time there is this issue of you know, like someone will draw a gun on a police officer, and then it's like, well, how do you think this is going to end?
Yeah.
Like, well, we have to see anyway. Time will tell, because Trump said he's going to try and deal with all this thug gang banging, what have you. So basically, as I said, he's been there 2 days now. So he's been there 2 days. So time will tell to see what he's actually going to do.
The solution is you need to have dads within the family, because that's the positive role models that the boys and also the daughters grow up with. And so, you know, like, you have the structured family there and the extended family, and that's what looks after you. It's not the government. Like, the government don't give a crap about you. They couldn't care less about you. You know, it's your family who do. You know.